From basketball shoe market share to bad blood over intellectual property theft, there are hardly two brands who hate each other more than Li-Ning and Nike. Well, today, I'm putting them to the ultimate test, pitting their top racing product against each other. We have the Li-Ning Fadian 6 Elite versus the Nike Alphafly 3. Alright, run number 1, Li-Ning Fadian 6 Elite. This is a big bouncy cruiser for sure. It is very jiggly and jello-y and fun underfoot. I'm already on the run. I decided to do the intro to this run in a slightly different location, and the birds are chirping. The rain has subsided. Hopefully it stays that way for the second run of the day, but for now I'm a little out of breath because I've been running, and I'm gonna keep running. Li-Ning Fadian 6 Elite feels like it encourages me to slow my cadence, and it's almost like I'm bounding along as if I were running on moon boots, which is it's just a fun shoe. It's not like the most confidence instilling at speed, but I think the pace range for this is skewed a little bit because my effort range, it's like a 715 or 725 right now, probably would be 745 in a lot of other shoes, including other carbon. It just feels so easy to run in these, and I wonder if I'm getting more air time, like reduced ground contact time. Feels like I'm levitating. Pretty cool stuff. The biggest challenge I'm facing right now in running is actually allergies. And I don't know too much about allergy medications, so I just haven't been doing any, because I know diphenhydramine makes me drowsy, and I don't know much else. So if anybody has allergy mitigation recommendations, especially if it's not like a drug, if I could, plug my nose or something, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just leaking from the face, super annoying. I'm gonna be completely honest with you all. I didn't like these at first, and I was kind of also skeptical of the Red Hair 9 Ultra at first. I did like that, but I didn't really get it, and these I did not like at first. Now though, I'm really understanding these. I'm really vibing with them today. They just lock you in the same way that I found the Li-Ning Red Hair 9 Ultra is capable of locking me into a pace and letting the shoes do the work and letting me not think. That's what I'm getting right now from the Fadian 6 Elite. Now, of course, if you have stability concerns, these are not it. They're not stable. But otherwise, if you run in unstable shoes regularly, these are very rhythmic. I think there might be a bit of a break-in period though, where it's just almost too wild to use at the outset, and then when it breaks in, it's this rhythmic trampoline. Great shoes. dab in the backyard. It's been a long time since I've done this. Yeah, it was an incredible run. It was just really nice. I do think that the one negative of these shoes is that the lower leg, like really low in the lower leg, can get fatigued, and I'm sweating into my eyeballs. But it's a really soft foam, so it's the trade-off of having something really soft and comfortable and squishy under your foot versus like having something snappy. That's not gonna work your deeply lower legs as much, or at least your intrinsic muscles as much. And this will, but it won't be as comfortable if it's as firm. So it's, it's one of those things. My dog is Strider, and he's licking me quite a lot. This was a really fun one, though. I had a good time, and now I need to get hydrated and reset and work, and then get back out for the second run of the day. So I've been essentially dancing through the raindrops all day, and I've avoided all rain so far today, and it looks like it's only getting clearer from here, so it's a good day for running. The problem is I'm exhausted after the first one and a very full day of work, so we're going to get after it for the second run of the day in the Alpha Fly 3. Let's go.
Double dice, I'm gonna run another one!
So far, the Alpha Fly's reading is much firmer, much plasticier, and a bit heavier, or like clunkier as a shoe. But it fits better, and I could see that as I put more power into it, it would come alive. But so far, I'm really impressed by the Fadian 6 Elite. It's more modern technology. It shows the Alpha Fly is showing its age, but this is no slouch either. I might just not be putting enough power into it yet. And there's no amount of power that's too little for the Fadian 6 Elite, because it's so soft and compressive that any amount of energy you put into it is going to come out. 12 miles, 7:58 pace. It's actually slower than this morning, and I was filming a lot less, and really what happened was I started having GI issues towards the end there, so I was just like walking for a bit, trying to not, trouble myself. And the things that I gathered from this run is I'm exhausted, that's a fact, but I think that the Fadian 6 Elite is a little bit more fun and bouncy, certainly way softer and way bouncier. I do like the sort of chewy texture that the Alpha Fly has, and the rhythmic thwop thwop thwop. Even though it's super loud and annoying, it's also a little bit hypnotic. I think that the main thing is I think that Alpha Fly is going to be more forgiving in the later miles for everybody. Unless you're a super hyper pro, or anybody, I would say maybe even anybody under 230 or 240, much faster than me, basically. If you're much faster than me, maybe you could get along with either of these later on into the race. But if you're finding that your form degrades late into a marathon at all, I think the Alpha Fly will be the better choice for you, because the Fadian 6 Elite is it's too wild at slower paces, and it's just uncontrollable energy, where it has more, I feel like it has more energy return than the Alpha Fly. It's hard to know just by sort of vibes, but it feels more energetic and certainly more squidgy and like side to side squidgy instability. And anything at slow paces in that shoe has been kind of a nightmare for me. And it also sort of just feels easier overall to run in. But I do think that if you're running very fast, the Alpha Fly is a better option because it's more stable. So, like, stability is the name of the game for where the Alpha Fly is superior. But that's kind of it. Like, it has not quite as energetic feeling foam. If you like the chewy, crunchy, maybe, texture of the Alpha Fly, the chunk, 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 chunk of the Alpha Fly, then, yeah, that's going to be better for you. But I think that the foam overall in the Fadian is a little bit, more modern, more explosive, more energetic. But we'll talk about that more. Back to the studio. And we're back in the studio with two carbon-plated Piba boys. First, I'm going to tell you about the runs. What I didn't fill in while I was out on the runs, I will color in now. First run of the day was in the Li-Ning and 6 Elite, and that was actually a fantastic run. I had just missed the first thunderstorm of the day, but it was still cool. I was wearing a quarter zip, and it felt really nice out. And I took a long time getting a bunch of camera shots. I was feeling very creative and inspired, and warmed up into the run over the course of 4 miles of doing that. And then when I got going, I really was carried away by the effort reduction of the Li-Ning and 6 Elite. It is just like the Red Hair 9 Ultra for me, that it doesn't actually feel like I'm going fast in this. It feels like I'm sort of just relaxed into the shoe once I get it going. The run itself was about 13 miles. I took it, at whatever luxurious, steady pace I felt like going at towards the second half of the run. It was certainly a lot quicker than I was anticipating, dipping into the low 7s and even under for, I think, a mile. But overall, the pace ended up being around 7:55, and it wasn't actually all that different for the Alpha Fly in the afternoon. I did that run in 7:58 pace over 12 miles, so very similar runs. Although the Alpha Fly, I sort of fell apart at the end, unrelated to the shoe. It was a lot warmer, definitely humid. I also, upon leaving, had just missed a thunderstorm, so I had a very lucky day of running today in both of these shoes. So that's enough about the run. I am now going to talk to you about the specs and materials in each of these. Specs-wise, these two shoes are awfully similar. The Alpha Fly is slightly heavier at 221, and versus 207 for the Fadian 6 Elite. They're similar drop, similar stack. They feel like similar drop. The Alpha Fly has an 8mm drop. It is not declared what the Fadian 6 Elite is. The materials, though, are where we start to see some differentiation. Of course, Nike has the AirPods, Air Units, whatever they're, the big bouncers, and the Li-Ning and 6 Elite has the Super Boom capsule, which, is definitely different than the AirPods. The foams are also very different. The Super Boom capsule is extremely soft, very squidgy feeling as well. And even the bottom layer of Piba is extremely, extremely soft on the Fadian 6 Elite. The Alpha Fly has definitely a firmer Piba. It feels more like the hollow door feeling that I've described on this channel before, where it's like you are landing on a hollow surface in the Alpha Fly. And this is especially true with the pods in the forefoot. It's more crunchy, more mechanical. Overall, the specs and materials are very similar on these two. The difference is really in the upper and the softness of the Piba, of course, but the upper is a knit in the Alpha Fly, like a really open weave knit. And this is an engineered mesh of some sort. I don't know exactly what it is, but it does have a knit stretchy tongue, which is really nice. Certainly borrowing from shoes like the Alpha Fly or like the Cielo X1. Not that that has a knit tongue specifically, but it has this like stretchier, more malleable tongue material that's sewn in. Then the laces are a little bit different as well, the serrated laces in the Alpha Fly. But frankly, I really like the laces in the Fadian 6 Elite. It takes a lot for me to say that. There are two types of laces that I've found that I like just as much as serrated laces. The ones in the Red Hair 9 Ultra and in the Fadian 6 Elite are both top tier. And I think my favorite laces of all time, if we could get really nerdy, is the X-Step 2000 Kilometer Pro. It's like a really bumpy, textured, gritty lace. Yeah, very off topic, but as far as specs and materials go, these are very similar on paper, but they do feel quite different. Fit. The fit is different. The Fadian 6 Elite is large, very large, half size big, and the Alpha Fly 3 is about right for me. It is roomy for a racing shoe in a size 10, but it is appropriately roomy. Meanwhile, the Fadian 6 Elite, I think that if you are in between sizes, go with your smaller size, and it's possible to even maybe half a size down from that. If you're your normal size, like if you always wear one size in everything, I would almost, I hate to give out advice of going half a size down because you know what works for you best, but it's a very roomy fit in the Fadian 6 Elite. Now the ride. I started to touch on this a bit in the specs and materials, but the Fadian 6 Elite is a bouncy, bouncy, bouncy shoe. It's a big, bouncy cruiser. They're both big, bouncy cruisers, but this is the biggest, bounciest cruiserist shoe that there ever will be, possibly. The Hoka Cielo X1 comes to mind, but this is even more vertically bouncy than that. It's a wild ride. It's a lot of fun. It's a laugh riot. It is also something that I would consider a bit too chaotic to race in. Like, just off the bat, if I were talking about these as racing shoes and not long run shoes, which I'm not, they're long run shoes to me. But if I were talking about them as racing shoes, it would be a no-brainer in the Alpha Fly for me due to trust. I could corner in this better. It fits my foot better. It's heavier, yeah, but not substantially so. And I don't totally, always love the underfoot feel. I've had really good runs in this, and I've had not so great runs in this. But I would find it more dependable, or find it less of a risk factor to take the Alpha Fly versus the Fadian, because, yeah, I mean, it's just, this is so wild. It's such a wild, exciting, adventurous, squidgy monster of a shoe that anything with a turn, I bought, any course that's anything but straight. If there's any camber, really, I would also probably avoid this for a race. I don't know. Yeah, I know some people really like it and have raced successfully in it, including some world-class times in this shoe. But I personally, I guess it's a skill cap issue. And if you're going to be able to run strong for the entirety of the race, I was saying this in the recap for the Alpha Fly, if you're confident that you're able to run really fast and maintain that speed, if you're like a sub 240, sub 230 guy, you're probably going to be okay in the Fadian 6 Elite. It's, for me, I just am not confident enough to take this. At some point in the future, maybe this becomes a viable option for me to race in. But as it stands, there's a reason that Alpha Fly is really popular, not only because it's Nike, but it has such a wide, robust platform that I think it could take care of anybody really late into a race. And the P-butt in this being a bit firmer, plus the AirPods, gives you just a little bit more of a solid platform under your foot, in my opinion. Now, as long-run cruisers in low-stakes environments, I came into today thinking that it would be a clean sweep for the Alpha Fly, because the 3 runs that I did in the Fadian leading up to this, while they were progressively better each time, and I ended up actually liking the shoe on the side of really enjoying the shoe on my 3rd run in it, I still was pretty unconfident that I was going to like it today. It was a bit of a wild card coming into it today, but I left with a continuously heightened
enjoyment of this shoe. And this is following the same path that the Li-Ning Red Hair 9 Ultra followed for me, where it's just like this vertical climb towards ascendancy into running shoe glory. And the only place that the Alpha Fly really takes the Fadian for me would be in its use case as a racing shoe. Otherwise, this is more fun. This is sillier. It's, I think, just faster underfoot. It's lighter. And this is, for me, it's faster underfoot. I'm not saying for everybody it would be that way, but it just feels more explosive. It also feels like it reduces the effort more, where the Alpha Fly, you really got to put some oomph into it. You got to be turning over those legs. But the Fadian just turns over the legs for you. That's how I've experienced it so far. And I have a theory that I am excited to share with you all. My theory is that the foam in the Fadian is too bouncy, and the foam in the Red Hair 9 Ultra is too bouncy out of the box. I think that's a ridiculous theory, but because both of those shoes were so uncertain for me in the early testing and only got better with time, and they got better pretty quickly after a couple of runs and then settled into this groove where they were just steadily fantastic feeling. I think that's, this is the first run where I've actually felt fantastic in the Fadian, but I think that it's going to stay in that space for me. And part of that does come down to the fact that I did get the lacing correct to mitigate the sizing issue. If I had gotten this in a half size down, I think I probably would have gotten along with this more immediately, but I've, solved that with some sort of lacing witchcraft. And now, with that taken care of, and with, I think, a little bit of break-in into the foam, maybe flattening some of the foam a little bit or making it conform to my foot a little bit, it's made this just a joy to run in. So it was a great run in the Fadian today. But again, like, if I'm taking, I would never take this for a race. It's just too chaotic. It's too silly. It's not, I don't think that I could, if I wanted to like bomb the last, 5K of the race, if I was close to my time goal, I don't know if I'm getting under 6-minute miles in this, like, I don't know if I'd feel actually safe doing so for an extended period of time, especially towards the end of a marathon. So think, when you're towards the end of a race, if you do have anything left in the tank and you want to hammer home the pace and get a good time, I don't trust the Fadian to do that, just because I'm afraid I might slip or like twist an ankle or something if I'm just going all out with reckless abandon. And I think the Alpha Fly is actually an example of a shoe that can go all out with reckless abandon because of how laterally stiff it is. There's like more of a chance for there to be tippy instability than squidgy instability in the Alpha Fly. But even that, I don't think would happen. I think that I could really take some corners, really bomb some hills in the Alpha Fly, where the Fadian, it just would be too much of a risk. So that's how I'm differentiating these two. I do think that their ultimate use case will be for long runs for me. I still really like the Alpha Fly, and I hope that my afternoon run in it isn't coloring it negatively, like it's not painting it in too negative of a light, because the run out to Lake Ontario I did in this was fantastic. And I also took this out for another long run fairly recently that also went really well. And I think this is it's a good mechanical, crunchy, almost chewy and crunchy at the same time, like pneumatic maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's I have all these words that are ticking over in my mind to describe the Alpha Fly. But ultimately, I think it's just a little bit more serious and a little bit less fun than the Fadian. So with that, I appreciate your attention on both the Li-Ning Fadian 6 Elite and the Nike Alpha Fly 3. Looking forward to the Alpha Fly 4. And as always, stay in motion.